This meeting is being recorded.
I haven't figured out how to get rid of that voice yet. Hey everybody, this is Brian Keith Noonan, and welcome to the One Thing Q4 Challenge, otherwise known as the speed at the implementation at the speed of focus challenge. That is the YATSOF acronym that you might have seen when you were invited to this event. Hats off, yats off to you, because I would like to thank you right now on behalf of your future self for taking your life seriously, because this is what it comes down to. This is your life. This is your life. These are your dreams. And if you're like me, at various times, you may have encountered the situation where your dreams seem to stay out of reach and you're not making progress toward them the way you want them to. Or distractions and other responsibilities are getting in the way and slowing you down. And we live in a distracted time. I think more so than any other point in time in history. We've got notifications going off, messages going off. People are texting us. People are emailing us. We've got social media, look at me, look at me, look at me. And unfortunately, it's very, very easy to fall into that trap. And if you don't have your purpose, clarity of your purpose, and then have priority that stems from that, then your time will get frittered away. And it may not just be a matter of this year. It might be your life. And I don't think it's morbid even to think, we don't know how long this life is going to last. And I know that if you're at my age or older, it's gone by fast. It goes by fast. And a year or 5 years or 10 years can go by and you're wondering, well, what happened to those things that I really wanted to do? What happened to that purpose I wanted to fulfill? What happened to that legacy I wanted to create? What happened to that impact I wanted to have on the world that got lost in the daily shuffle and got lost in the grind? So congratulations for taking your life seriously enough to take the time out and make the investment of time and money and energy and emotion into having the best life you can. And this is something that you'll use repeatedly and revisit repeatedly if you take it seriously. You'll use it on and on for the rest of your life, because goals and priorities and dreams are always evolving and changing and growing. And each mountain that you climb, you'll see you have a different view of the rest of the world. And each person that you meet and see and interact with here will all add perspective and ideas and help you to fine-tune what you want, because this program and this exercise is all about what you want. It's all about you having the power through some simple techniques of focusing. You have the power to get to wherever you want to go with your goals. And some of you watching or present may already have gotten where you want to go, but now realize, okay, well, what's next? And sometimes that can even be worse than the feeling of the struggle of not getting there, because you get to where you finally thought you wanted to go, and it's kind of like, all right, well, I'm here now. What's the big deal? Maybe that wasn't worth all the sacrifice that I made for it, or there's got to be something else. What's next? What else is there to this? So this really, I believe, and I didn't write the book. Okay, we're talking about the book "The One Thing" by Gary Keller. That's where the one thing comes from. That's why I have entitled myself the One Coach, because I believe in focus, and I take some of his ideas and some of my own and some of the other experiences and resources that I've invested in and bring them all together in the work I do with my clients. So you're all going to get a taste of this as we go over the next 12 weeks. Any thoughts for those of you, some of you have done some work on this already with me, and some of you may be newer to it. Any thoughts or experiences that you'd want to share of how focusing and doing some counterintuitive things like going small to go big and slowing down to go fast have helped you in the work that you've done. If you've read the book, if you've implemented anything in the book, if you've worked with me, anybody who wants to jump in on that real quick. For those that will be here or are here or will be watching, that this is a new thing to, what's the point of doing it?
I'm always happy to speak, although I'm not the best example of doing what you suggest. But it's evident when you start doing it that actually focusing, and when there seems to be so many balls up in the air, it's very easy to drop a lot of them, and it feels very overwhelming. And when you boil it down to the one thing, and you're really focused on doing that, you accomplish something that day that moves you in the direction of your goals, rather than accomplishing 75 things that day that really had nothing to do with your end goal, which is very possible to fall into. So
yes,
that's my take on it.
Yeah, the good news is they've got busy lives. The bad news is you've got busy lives. So is the busyness going to fulfill you, or is it cutting down on that noise and that busyness and focusing on something that you can actually accomplish and have that completion momentum with that brings you that next step forward? And other good news for you guys is you don't have to do this perfectly. And we're not going to be in a mode of beating ourselves up for not doing it perfectly, because even if you do it imperfectly, even if you take these concepts and implement them just in a percentage of your life, you will become so much more effective, productive, and on purpose and on goal that it'll change your life. And then you'll want to go, then it becomes addictive. Then you'll want to go back and revisit it. So I think I've read this book, The One Thing by Gary Keller, 4 or 5 times now. And this is the third group that I'm leading through the book. And each time I'm getting more clarity. It's becoming more of a habit for me to implement, and I'm experiencing the benefits of it. And I believe that you'll have the same experience. But if we've been in a group before, or even if we've been one-on-one before, this is going to be a unique experience because we're really going to follow the book. And then once you're there and have your purpose informing your priorities, which inform your productivity, which inform your profits if you're in business for yourself, or your general wealth as a living person having an enjoyable life, okay, even if you're not in business for yourself, then all the options open up for you. And then you can really see, okay, well, now I've kind of cut out all this noise and stopped watering down my focus and my activity and my bandwidth with a lot of unnecessary things. I can really make some progress here. And it's amazing. I'm really looking forward to helping you guys make this fourth quarter of 2018 one of your best ever, and to hit the ground running with you in 2019 and make it one of those years where, and has anybody ever had a year where you come to the new year and you're like, okay, I'm going to accomplish this, that, and the other thing. I'm going to, get in shape. I'm going to grow my business. I'm going to spend more time with my kids or my wife or my husband. I'm going to do all these different things, and it doesn't happen. And we're 3/4 of the way through the year right now. And, hobbies that you enjoy, things that you enjoy that you lose track of, goals, grander goals and visions that you've had of traveling or of serving and philanthropically or investing or doing things that will matter to not only you and your loved ones, but to the world at large. Shining your light, sharing your gifts, all these things that people are waiting to do. They're procrastinating. They're not sure what to do, or they know what to do and aren't doing it, or they're just overwhelmed with busyness all the time. And it's a very, very easy trap to fall into. And the world that we live in is not helping us. Social media is not helping us. Texting, messaging, email is not helping us. Telemarketers are not helping us. All these things are not helping us. But part of the reason that once we know what to do, and the reason we don't do it is just because there's a lack of clarity of how important it is. And I'm here to tell you guys and girls that your gifts are important to this world. And so not only would it be a tragedy for you to end this life and die with your song still in you, but you're cheating the world. You're doing an incredible disservice to the world, because I know all you guys, and I know your heart, and I know your knowledge and experience, and how you can help people. So this is great that we're here, and we're going to be going through this book in detail. We're going to be doing 4 chapters a week, so make sure that you have the book, The One Thing by Gary Keller, and read the first 4 chapters between now and next week, because that's what we'll be discussing on the call. Then we're going to be going through them together as quickly as we can, but we may not always get through 4 chapters each time, but that's why I'm allowing the full 12 weeks. And there's going to be a concentration on, if you dipped into the book at all or read it once already, on section 3 of the book, which is chapters 13 through 15, and it has to do with goal setting and time blocking and so forth. Questions, comments? Jimmy, how about you? You've done some work on this, and Tim, you have as well. So I'd love to hear from you guys, and I want to share my screen and show you a couple of things as well.
Well, yeah, one thing that I've noticed is that through getting more focused, because I don't have a lot of time, I got the same amount of time as everybody else, 24 hours. However, there's a lot of my time already sucked up with a lot of things that aren't going to change currently. And so I have to really prioritize what little bit of time I have to do extra things that are important to me. And I've realized probably in the last 3 weeks in really changing my focus on what I do on social media, where I do go on social media, and especially what I either say or don't say has directly impacted me in making my time more productive, and at the same point talking to people that mean something more to me than the average person, people that really kind of either resonate with what's important to me, or kind of are interested in hearing more about what is important to me. And that took a lot of time to get to that focus.
Absolutely. Something's got to give, right? Like you said, Jimmy, we all have 24 hours a day, and about a third of that is taken up sleeping. So what do you do with the rest of it to make it count? And it's so easy with the urgent things, seemingly urgent in certain cases, things that are just taking our attention away from what our purpose is. And if we don't have clarity on our purpose, then we can't stick to them, because the bigger picture is just too far away. It's kind of fuzzy. If it's not clear and it's not brought in through a process that we call goal setting to the now, of a someday goal that we bring to 5 years, to 1 year, to 1 month, to 1 week, to today, to right now, what is the one most important thing for us to be doing in whatever key area or key pillar of life. So it could be business and finance. It could be your personal relationships. It could be taking care of you and your health and fitness and well-being. And it could be any of those things and more. But whatever you determine those key pillars of your life to be, and how you schedule them out throughout the day, days, weeks, months, is what's going to make the difference of if you get to where you want to go or not. And it's a powerful process. It's hard sometimes or let's put it this way, it's very easy to put things off that aren't right in front of you. And we have the luxury of having Facebook in front of us, or we have all these other distractions in front of us all the time. And so we water down our efficacy and our focus and our efforts. And by the end of the day, we're exhausted and we've done some stuff, but we don't feel like we've accomplished much. And you can check off your to-do list all day long. It just doesn't necessarily get you where you want to go if you haven't planned it out ahead of time. So there's going to be some planning, there's going to be some strategy in all this. That's going to be very valuable to you guys. How about you, Tim? You want to throw in on this? I know you've done some work with the one thing.
Oh yeah, I want to throw in some serious stuff. Just so you know, the book "Distracting Ourselves to Death" just had its 20th anniversary edition printed. So this is not a new problem, Brian.
No.
We've been celebrating it for a very long time, and it's done nothing but get worse on purpose.
It's just worse than ever, for sure.
Right, and we are distracting ourselves to death, and that's what the dopamine's about. And you're right about the whole focusing, because it's counterintuitive to go smooth as, slow is smooth, smooth is fast is very difficult. Everybody's got now, but quality falls apart.
Yeah.
So prior planning prevents piss poor performance was drilled into me, and I wished I'd paid more attention. So you're right. We've only got 168 hours in a week to play with, and you break it all down, and you're wrong about the 1/3 of it spent sleeping, because the sleep deprivation is a real problem. And
good point.
The whole idea of doing more with less is actually fairly new. Believe it or not, the work week has been expanding since 1979. So we actually are working more than we used to, which is pretty stupid. But we can. That's the important part. We have the ability. There's no reason that you have to be stuck in an office, Brian. You have a phone. You could be at the beach. And I only see, there's no reason, and there's also no time zone tying you down.
Right.
That's all there is to it. You've got unlimited access to the world, so you can easily amuse yourself to death, because there's more cat videos than you can watch on YouTube. And believe it or not, I actually had one Boy Scout who claimed that he was going to use his cell phone as his flashlight. His father told me that he actually managed to burn 3 gigabytes of data that night. So going forward, no one got to keep their phone because of things like that, because then they're going to take it out somewhere. So I've got a lot of this stuff. I've been exposed to it. I'm not perfect at it. I've actually introduced people to taking the desk calendar and putting it on the wall, because we all grew up with like day at a glance, week at a glance. Well, in college, I needed semester at a glance. So I put up 3 months at a time. And now I've gotten to the point where I actually put up the entire year, especially for the Boy Scouts. I want them to be able to plan a year out, because getting permits to the Grand Canyon, not an easy thing. So yeah, I've got things I want to do, and the Grand Canyon's in it. So I'm going to have fun with y'all, and I have plenty to share. And like I said, this is just going to be a real kick, just to go back through this material again and again to really own it. And I'll put some spins on it, because after 40 years of looking at how the mind works and doesn't work, I've got a couple of ideas to throw down. And
right on.
Yeah, there you go.
Good stuff, Tim. Thank you. Yeah, and Tim is our resident expert on the Boy Scouts, and he's helping us to help give our Cub Scouts a good head start, which is going to include a camping trip this weekend. So we'll report back on how that goes. I sent a couple of files in the chat that you may find useful, and one of them I want to look at real quick is a picture, y'all, of this iceberg. And something like 70 or 80% of an iceberg is underwater, as you've mostly all probably heard before. And so what we see when we look around and other people in business and life in general is we see the productivity and how they're getting things done, and we see the profits they're making. But what we don't see that's underneath the water is this priority and this purpose, so purpose-driven priority that enables them to be that productive and to make those profits. And that's really where we're going to start here in the book, as far as where the rubber meets the road and implementing these things. So once again, that's chapters 13 through 15. If you want to take an advanced look at that, or if you've already done some work with me and you're revisiting that and fine-tuning and dialing in your goals and your time blocking and everything, all the goals and the calendar are very much intertwined and are very important, because that's the only way that by deciding what's important to us, putting it on the calendar, and then sticking to it and ruthlessly protecting our time, our appointments with ourselves, and our appointments with the people that we care about, that's the only way that these get done the way we want to. Otherwise, there's too many different winds blowing in different directions and shiny objects and things to get distracted with that are going to really do us in and waste our lives. Really, literally waste our lives. I'm not assuming that you guys have wasted your lives, and I'm not assuming that I've wasted my life. We've all had the experiences we've had and the wins and the challenges that we've had for a reason, and we're sitting here right now ready to rock and take another look, revisit, go back to the drawing board and say, okay, well, now from where I am right now, I'm going to make this time count. I'm going to make the things that are important to me happen, and the rest of the stuff can take a flying one, basically. So some of the things that we're going to go over in the book as another quick preview. These are the chapters. And so what we get into right in the beginning, sort of introduction to the concept of the one thing, and then we get into the lies that mislead us and derail us. So by next week, you should have gotten through at least chapter 4, which is the first lie, that everything matters equally. Okay, multitasking is a huge one that we're going to debunk this myth and get you to discipline yourself not to multitask. Discipline in general, that's another interesting lie that we've been sold, and we're going to show you how to selectively discipline yourself to build powerful habits that become second nature, so it doesn't require being disciplined all the time. The curve, the learning curve or the discipline curve, if you guys can still see me, starts high and then goes down over a period of a couple of months as you're developing a new habit of that you're working toward goals with and things like that. So willpower, being on will call, we only have a certain amount of the fuel of willpower and the bandwidth and the mental energy to, in each day. We only have a finite amount until we have a rest of some sort and maybe eat something and maybe drink some water and all these things that we need to maintain ourselves in peak form. But there's going to have to be some rest in between. And if you're going 100 miles an hour all the time, you're going to burn out and you're probably not going to be very effective anyway. I've tried that. Doesn't work. I don't recommend it. The myth of a balanced life. That's an interesting one that we'll get into talking about as far as is there such thing as balance, or is there really something called counterbalance? And you'll learn about that in that chapter. And then big is bad. Lots of times that we'll assume that if we're going to have a big business or a big life or big dreams, that we're going to have to sell our soul to get them. And it's not true. By the end of this, you're going to come out of this experience with a clear vision of how you can work less and make more. How you can spend less time doing things that suck the soul out of you and more time doing what lights you up and gets you excited. And for me, I know, like, I'm coming back to things like playing the drums. Jimmy's a drummer too, by the way. I have drums that haven't been set up. I've lived here for a year. So now I'm having the bandwidth and the space to be able to look at that like, hey, I'm psyched. I'm lit up by playing the drums. I'm going to set these things up. And believe me, if you're deep enough into the grind and the hustle and trying to make things happen and trying to sell and trying to make life work, and you're caught in that struggle, then you don't really have time to, or the luxury of saying, oh, I'm just going to play my drums for a while. These are the things that get lost. Important things to us that we're passionate about that get lost. Quality time with the people that we love that gets cut down or lost. Quality time with ourselves and pursuing our own hobbies and creative pursuits and things like that all contribute to the productivity toward other goals. So we're cutting out essential parts that are leaning up against each other that don't work out in the end. So that's kind of basically what I've got as far as our introduction here. And I'm really looking forward to getting into the material. We're going to, throughout this process, have within what you're comfortable doing, either with me directly or with the group, which you're all in the Facebook group already, we're going to be sharing our goals and helping fine tune them and really connecting them to the goals, to the time of day and how we're blocking our time so that we do get to everything that's important to us and we say no to the rest. Saying no is going to be something that you're going to get good at if you take this material seriously. And it's one of the most powerful words, because everything that you say yes to, you're saying no to something else. And if you're saying yes to things that aren't important to you and no to the things that are, then you end up wondering where the hell your dreams and your goals and your life went. So we don't want that tragedy to happen here, and we're not going to let it to the best of our ability. So you're in the right place, whether you've been struggling or whether you're getting bored because your goals are maybe too small and not lighting you up, or you're spending a lot of time in activities, whether they're business or otherwise, that aren't lighting you up, getting you excited and inspiring you. We can attack both of those situations with the same material and methodology, and they will help you. And they'll help you get clarity and move forward on purpose so that the next 3 months and the next 3 years are going to blow your fucking minds. Anybody else have anything before we go? Oh, I almost forgot something. Michael Lassen is another coach that's going to be in and around the group. Because of time zones, he's in Cyprus and 7 hours ahead of us here on the East Coast. So he probably won't be on too many live calls of these, but he's going to be doing bonus calls in the group where you can get on live with him and me. And he's also going to be offering breakthrough sessions, which he'll get into more as far as the details of what that entails. But highly recommended if you feel like there's one particular weak link in things as you get some more clarity, that you want to work on. He does work with mindset and taking a powerful state that you were in when you accomplished something great and applying it to what you're feeling weakness in. That's a really powerful experience. I'm going to report back directly once I do mine with him, which is coming up, because I think it's going to be a nice enhancement to this. But he's also gotten benefit from doing the work with the one thing, and he'll be the first one to tell you that he didn't do it perfectly, but is hundreds of % more effective in what he's doing and got new ideas and significant direction in his life and business just from going through this book together. So you're in good company, and we're going to take care of you. We can't lift the weights for you because then we get the muscles, not you. But I'm also doing this because I need to be on top of it. I need to continue revisiting this material and continue implementing it, because knowing it is one thing. We all know, right? Knowing something is one thing, and actually doing it is a whole other thing. And it only works if you do it. So I'm teaching it. I'm leading this group. I'm getting better at it. I'm helping you by passing on insights to you, what I found and how I fine-tuned it along the way and the progress I'm making. None of us are perfect, but none of us are broken. Not broken, you don't need fixing. This is a fine-tuning exercise, and it's just a fundamental one that starts and builds the foundation of everything else that you want to build and accomplish in your life. So that is really all about all I got for now. Unless anybody else has some parting thoughts, we're going to say goodbye for now And same bat time, same bat channel. Next Thursday, we will be here going through the first 4 chapters of the book. Sound good? All right. Awesome, guys.
Sounds good.
Thanks for coming. And once again, your future self, thanks you for taking your life seriously and making it count. See you next time.